Hello and welcome to day 270 summary. Today's Monday, so it is study time. I did pick up a lot of illustration with high resolutions, so I can go into details. However, after this day, I kind of kept up with another plan for the future, for the tomorrow, that I actually wanted to be more doing than this, because it was a lot to digest, and I definitely did not memorize a lot of it. However, we'll be going through the points where I started and then have this video to remind myself what I did picked up. Naturally, it's just again details, not going into the full head structures like here. More of interesting things. And one thing is that we have some of those lines here where there's a shadow, but there's also a blurry line with some light here on top of it. I don't know how they recreate it, because this is a blurry line, but it has a hard shadow of the outside, so it's like, it's weird. I don't have the idea how they do it. Because it's not like the same as blue here, where this looks like complete blue. That's definitely blue. This is a blue with the hard edge. Kind of pointed this out. By the way, the shadow blue and will go in one direction. The shadows define forms. That's what I can say about this. Mid-tone transition. Blurry mid-tone transition that I already mention. One thing that I will be seeing a lot is the transition from hard line art into soft line art. Like we see clearly here as a dark edge line art going into colored line art. And so I try to recreate this transition here. It kind of looks like this, but it's still off, and I will be pointing this a lot of times, and this will be probably the main discovery for today. Then we have highlight followed by shadow, like we have highlight area followed by shadow area. Also a lot of irregularities, and also not only circular, like not only circles, but also more of a straight, then a wrapping up motion, so like a variety of motions happening there too. And with non-existing value change is that they're very sudden, you barely notice it. There's also a gradient light towards the at the edges. Very sudden, but not very common on the illustrations here. Moving on to the Griseo. One thing is about that I went about the full body, because we have like a lot of body here to show. And it is the same principle as for the face, where we have one bone cheek and the other like this form, like we will go in and then out. The same goes for the rib cage. We have a part where we see the back, and we have part that we don't see the back. So it's often like this. I see it. Also the teardrops for the legs, kind of dividing it into this little things here. Notice about the hair is that, well, not only we have here sharp stuff, but also less repetitions, because if it were me, I would put those shadowy lights, right? Shadowy lights on each and every hair string, but there's much less repetition, and there's more like thicker line art instead, where we have like, it goes up, straight, then down, straight, down, straight, up, down. I'm not sure if I can follow the lights, but the arrows are basically the amount of light falling down on it. An idea that I had is to pick up the picture in the gray scale value, just to see how the value changes, because for some reason we have luminosity, we have saturation, I understand, but I don't understand why luminosity is like, why does it exist? It could be just a value slider, like so I don't have to turn the picture all the time gray. I don't know. Like, I don't know why we don't have like a value changer. Why don't we have a value changer instead of a slider instead of luminosity slider? I don't understand the existence of the luminosity slider till this day. Moving to the beautiful and only Vita. One big observation here is their arms bent inwards. Like we have, by the way, this is another indication that I will be doing a lot, I think. We'll be making a circle, and we will be trying to make good circles in the future, pointing out where the elbow lies. Yeah, their arms go inwards, not just straight sticks. Oh, I would have drawn them, very likely. But literally a lot of inward movement. To everything else, by the way, will be so that I really need to learn those lines. Like line control is very, very, very important to me. And I think that I will be doing it always, like a warm-up task, 30 minutes. By the way, I did cut a couple of breaks in betweens. We'll be telling about this more tomorrow. One thing about line art is that not line art, always line art, like not only outline, but we have something like ambient occlusion line art. You can see it here. I will say this is like ambient occlusion line art because it is like the in of the eye, so they goes like more in, and then we have normal shadow that defines form. So I will think about the soft line art, the ambient occlusion line art, if that makes sense. We have also a couple of irregularities here on the height of the cards. I also always look back in my illustration to understand what I did, how I want to do it there. So when I will be me, I will be probably do something like this. But I also picked up a couple of irregularities. The irregularities here are also just not too big, I think. Maybe go more into an extreme one. Also with the direction of the strings, they are also irregular. Moving to the next illustration, we have more irregularities. Is in the shadow, like zigzag shadows and highlights, of course. But yeah, I guess the motto is just make things more interesting. And I always tell it more and more. The way the hands here, tossed hands. I find it funny. The whole hands and memory exercises I will need to do one day, but right now we don't have the time for it, I think. More angular movements, like more angles instead of roundish objects. Like even if I train a lot of round stuff, the most what I see is angles. A lot of angles. Sudden angles. A little bit wobble. There and there. Yeah. Not like going down, but you can feel there is an angle. So, yeah, you can feel here too. Is it planned? I don't know, but it puts my mind at ease that I don't have to make two perfect lines. I also just need to know where to cut the angle. One small thing about is the collarbone that is direct connected to the shoulder. I kinda can feel it, but I never got the courage to completely connect it to the shoulder like this. Also, you can see there is more of a line art difference. This one is more blurry. It's more like ambient occlusion line art that flows into the hard line art. So the soft and hard line art, that makes sense. I don't know. I'm just coming up with my own definitions here at this point. For the faces, I'm starting to point out for the main parts instead of, I don't know, like go with the circle and stuff. Will be probably important for the hairlines, but right now I really focus on the eyes where we have brown ridge and the cheekbone, and then we have somewhere in between our wobble for the line, and then go connect to the chin. And the same here, because mostly we have this view. Try to emphasize on that one. A little bit more to the hair that I wanted to say is that we have half moon's shadows, and the shadow, again, I mentioned before, defines fog. And to the good list, I had a plan that I wanna also copy and recreate the stuff that I'm observing, which brings me to the idea that maybe I can do it together with the illustration and recreate this on the illustration itself. And the most important thing here right now is the faded line from the heart line, like for the hair, for example, like this part. You see there's a hair. It goes very saturated and steady, and then gradually it desaturates and go into gray area. And then it goes into fading area, like it fades away. And I don't know how do you do with this with just a simple line. Of course, you can manipulate your brush density, or like your pressure settings and stuff, but this is too difficult, at least for me. So I guess I need to pay attention to this subtool with the starting and ending. Already glazing on it from time to time, but it feels like the answer to be more precise with the fading line art into the hair. I have a lot of ideas from this day, and we'll be probably projecting them on the next day, where we will probably continue with our normal illustration stigmata study. A little bit shorter, but go into the process of illustration and pick up the ideas and implement them directly towards the illustration itself instead of just copying it. I think that's an idea. It definitely sounds exciting, and that's a good thing. So that will be it for this day. I know my explanation and my day's summary is getting longer and longer. I don't want it, but that's how it will be for this moment. I will try to keep it shorter, unlike now. I will be thank you for watching and listening. I wish you a good day, night, afternoon, and see you in day 271. Take care.